Roll up, roll up. Childish Gambino. Rumor has it, Buhari has been a bad boy. Come join. Where are you guys? Yes, we are a bit late, more than a bit late actually, half an hour late, but never late, but better late than never. Where are you people? My people, roll up. Say hello as you're coming in. Matters arising. Buhari has been a bad boy. Join, come, roll up. Let me just let me open the curtains a little bit. So yeah, that's better. Roll up, roll up. Let me put the invite here so you guys can come participate. You know the score by now. If you are a regular viewer, roll up. Where are you people? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and the in-betweeners. Even if you're a cross-dresser, you're still welcome. Roll up. Buhari has been a bad boy. Matters arising. So we're looking to a few items in this particular interaction. The Minister of Finance, ZAINAB Ahmed, she's come out now to admit, after having denied that Nigeria is printing money now, Zimbabwe style, because of course they've looted all the funds in the country's coffers. And to the eastern quarters we go, Money-Kanu and his ESN, they are rejecting and are swearing with God's name that they would never work with Ebubeagu. So somebody can correct me on the pronunciation of that word. You know that I'm notoriously bad with non-Yoruba names. So that's the next narrative. And then the other narrative that we're going to, we're still with Issa Pantami. He is, of course, now raining courses on the Adeyanju. So that is the mix, and that is where we are. So we've got somebody already chiming in. Ibijoke Owolabi, the Pantami course, will go back to him. Well, we'll get into that in a moment. And if Ibijoke, if you want to come join us live, then here is the hyperlink. This is what we really encourage, because what usually makes this live streaming is the interaction with the people who make that decision to click on the hyperlink and come and join in. So feel free to do that if you are emboldened enough to do that. There's sufficient enough of us in here to kick off with the narrative. So I just have a sip of water and switch off the alarm on my phone and have another sip. And then we get straight into the throes of it. So we start, of course, with it's Pantami, because, of course, it looks as though Ibijoke has already chosen that for our first narrative. And here is now, just to set the background before we get into the Issa Pantami narrative, Deji Adeyanju, of course, a notorious attention seeker along the lines of Fani Kayode, Reno Omokri, and the rest of them. Those are noted attention seekers and media prostitutes. He has latched on to the Pantami storyline, and he has now written to the American embassy insisting that the Americans put Pantami on their terrorist watch list. And of course, the evidence and the reasons for this to be the case is copious and plentiful. So this is now what Deji Adeyanju has done. And of course, what is his name? Pantami responds. And guys, I bring you this. May Allah rebuke his blessings. Minister of Communications, Pantami, causes Adeyanju over letter to the United States. So this is, before we even get into the throes of the story, we have to understand that this is a minister of state that we're talking about. This hyperlink that I am posting is something that you can click on if you want to come and join me live on stream. Anybody that's been following these sessions know that that is how we usually do it. So just click on that hyperlink and then you'll be straight on the screen and we'll be discussing these matters together. So the person that is actually raining curses on people is a minister of state. This minister of state is not a representative of Fulani or Hausa, no. He's not even a representative of his religion. No, he's a representative of the entirety of the Nigerian state. And this person now, this Aboki guy that is raining curses on this Yoruba guy, is the Minister of Communications. So again, the headline, may Allah rebuke his blessings, Minister of Communications Pantami curses Adeyanju over letter to the United States. So now let's now see exactly what has led to this. Nigeria's Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Pantami, has placed a curse on the convener of human rights group Concerned Nigerians, Deji Adeyanju, for asking the United States to place him on a terrorism watch list. Adeyanju had, in a letter dated April the 11th, 2021, with the subject terrorist watch list Issa Pantami, and addressed to the Secretary of State, United States Department of State, pointed out that Pantami, being a senior member of Muhammadu Buhari-led administration, it was less expected of him to be an alleged supporter of the world's extremist leaders like Mullah Omar and Osama bin Laden. And if the allegations is true, he should not hold a sensitive position and be in charge of the database of Nigerians. So this is the real concern, because there are several elements to this narrative we have to understand. I'll come back to the story in a moment, but there are several narratives to this you have to understand. The first narrative is that this guy is a terrorist sympathizer. And if you're a terrorist sympathizer, that is just a skip and a jump from being a terrorist yourself. And in fact, if you ask for my personal beliefs, I am of the thought that this Issa Pantami is a terrorist himself. So that's the first thing. So this guy is a notorious and an international terrorist. So why am I saying Issa Pantami is an international terrorist? He's an international terrorist because he's not localizing his religious extremism and terrorism to the Nigerian space. He's aligning himself to Al-Qaeda. He's aligning himself to Osama bin Laden, and is aligning himself to ISWAP and all of these organizations that are of international dimension in terms of terrorism. So an international terrorist this guy is. So that is the first element. And it should not only be on the watch list of the Americans, it should also be on the watch list of the Nigerians, and it should in fact be cooling his heels in a restricted place somewhere under the supervision of security authorities. But what is this guy doing? And this is now the second element. This known and noted and self-confessed terrorist, Issa Pantami, is in charge of the database of the entirety of the Nigerian space. So all of you, so when we're saying somebody is in charge of your database, what are we actually talking about? They are asking you to align your NIN with your SIM card so that then they have, because of course, when you're registering your SIM card, they take a lot of information. So they have your picture, they have your date of birth, they have your gender, they have your address, they have virtually all the information that they need to access you at the snap of a hand. So what this means then is that this terrorist Issa Pantami, that is in charge of the Nigerian database structure, has access, you that you're listening to this, to the sound of my voice now, he has access to knock on your door within 5 minutes. Do you understand? Because all he has to do is to look at your image and align that image with your data on his system. And before you know it, he has sent boys, because they have boys all over the entirety of the Nigerian space, they have sent boys to come and knock on your door. So effectively, this terrorist is at Pantami that we have in charge of the Nigerian database, because of course, the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy is in charge of the Nigerian database. Yeah, this terrorist, he has immediate access to your data. So this is really where, so two concerns, this guy one being a terrorist, and the second concern, this guy having access, and the more potent, the second concern actually is the more potent one, because it's an existential threat to you as an individual, because this guy can access you. You can make some comment on Facebook somewhere and just think that you are joking. But this guy, if he's irritated, he can just tap in his computer and send boys round to come and finish you off. So this is really where the concern is. So we continue. The letter reads in part, "We write to intimate you of remarks attributed to Sheikh Issa Pantami, Nigeria's communication minister, in several media blogs in the country, wherein he was quoted as saying he was always happy whenever unbelievers are killed by terrorist groups. It is also further alleged that he had in the past openly supported and endorsed global terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda and the Taliban." Pantami is said to have praised Osama bin Laden, describing him as a hero and a better Muslim than himself. He has not renounced these views in the face of new revelations by the media. His views are extremist views and a threat to a multi-religious nation like Nigeria. However, some followers and supporters of the minister declared, let me take that again. However, some followers and supporters of the minister declared Adeyanju as an enemy of their faith. In a post on Facebook, one Dati Asalafi wrote, "The non-Muslim Deji Adeyanju hates Islam and Muslims, supports the abuse of Islam and Muslims on his social media. He is one of the enemies of Nigeria's peace that has won a contract to spread the hashtag #EndSideCrisis on social media, which has cost Nigeria more than 3 trillion. He is the one who has now written a letter of complaints to the U.S. Embassy in Abuja, requesting that the United States place Sheikh Dr. Issa Ali Pantami on a list of people responsible for terrorist activities around the world, and that the embassy accept his complaint." So you see already the weight, and from the image that you would have seen in the advert for this particular session, you'd have seen an X mark, which is written in a red font across the face of Deji Adeyanju. So that portends danger, and that should be reasons for concern for Deji. No matter the fate and destiny, there is nothing to associate these pagans who hate us all the time and their parents. So let me take that again. No matter the fate and destiny, there is nothing to associate with these pagans who hate us all the time and their parents. Oh Allah, show this pagan one of your verses. May Allah grant him a long life in hardship and humility to witness the glory of Malam Issa Ali Pantami and the Muslims in Nigeria. And then it goes on to do some either Fulani, Hausa, or Arabic quote. Commenting on the post, and this is the point. So pay particular attention to this next now paragraph. Let me just post the hyperlink again. I do invite anybody, if you click on this link, let me just, so let me say, click on this link to come join me live. So I encourage you to click on this link to come join me live. I do enjoy that interaction, and the audience seems to enjoy. So one of you guys taking me on, or several of you guys taking me on directly as well. So if you feel emboldened enough and you feel strong enough in your views of matters being discussed, then just click on that link. I'm not aggressive, you know, and I will give you the space to speak. So just click on that link and come join me live on screen. And So that's the request. So we carry on with this now. Our Aboki person. So I want you to pay particular attention. I want you to pay particular attention to this particular bit, because this is now Isa Pantami himself speaking directly to Deji Adeyanju, for Deji Adeyanju writing a letter to the American embassy addressed to the Secretary of State, so to be forwarded on to the Secretary of State in Washington, requesting that Isa Pantami be placed on the American terror watch list, because, of course, as we all know, factually and with evidential-based reason, that Isa Pantami is a fact, a high-level and high-profile terrorist of international dimension. So now, in response to the request that Deji Adeyanju sent to the American Secretary of State, this is what Isa Pantami said in response, commenting on the post with his verified. So pay attention to that, with his verified. So when they're saying somebody's responding, you see this verification that you get on. Sorry, I'm digressing, but we have to set the background so that we can land on the point. When they are saying somebody is responding with their verified Instagram account, Facebook account, etc., what they are saying in effect is that that person is responding directly, because for you to be verified, of course, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, they would have checked you out and you would have gone through processes to identify that you are indeed, in fact, that person running that account. So if a response is coming from somebody's verified Twitter, Facebook, Instagram account, then that response is coming directly from that person. So I want us to have that understanding as we make this point. Commenting on the post with his verified Facebook page, Pantami wrote in Hausa, Allah ya sini masa alu barika, which means Allah rebuke his blessings. So he's asking Allah to rebuke his blessings from Deji Adeyanju, and there's a capture of this particular thing that he said. By the way, he quickly deleted it, of course, but as you know, with Nigerians, they always immediately capture this thing, so there's no denying it, and I will post it on my community tab. So please make sure you are subscribed to the channel and you're following through, because I do need your following to make these things work. The minister comment, which gathered over 350 replies, was however deleted minutes after. Pantami has been under fire since the virtual. Sorry, let me take that all over again. Pantami has been under fire since the visual and audio clips of some of his teachings resurfaced over a decade later, some of which showed him as being sympathetic to Islamic extremist sects like Al-Qaeda and Taliban. Meanwhile, concerned Nigerian groups have condemned the declaration by some Muslims that the convener of the group, Deji Adeyanju, is an enemy of Islam. A statement by the group's spokesperson, Theophilus Abu Agada, so I'm not quite sure how Muslim a name like Theophilus is, but nevertheless, the statement by the group's spokesperson, Theophilus Abu Agada, on Monday condemned in strong terms the threats against Adeyanju over the group's petition to the American embassy to investigate allegations of terrorism and extremist views against Nigeria's Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Isa Pantami. So that is Isa Pantami for you. I'm inviting people to come on board. If you want to click on the hyperlink, please do. I want to know what you guys are making of this. It's the interaction that really makes the session. So let me just take it from the top and see what we're actually getting. So we have Ibike, who is saying the Pantami course will go back to him, and so say all of us, because the Adeyanju is perfectly within rights to invite investigation into a known and high-profile terrorist being in charge of the Nigerian database, as he has described. The name is Ebubeagu. So that is the Igbo narrative that we're about to land upon. Money-Kanu rejecting having to work with the newly formed security structures by the Igbo clan, but we'll get to that in a moment. We're still with Pantami and the Adeyanju. So that is what young Chris has to say. If anyone, again, I invite that interaction on the hyperlink. So click on the hyperlink if you want to come join. Slim PN, this is what Slim has to say. God will punish that Kanu. Now he has created terrorism in the East. So yes, we'll get to that story in a moment. I'm not quite sure if you have a lot of sympathizers, because I have a strong Igbo following on this channel, and the strength of that Igbo following is essentially IPOB, and I'm sure a lot of people will take you on for raining courses on their Mazi. God will put, okay, so it goes on to repeat it again. So we'll just skim through that. Asamota Johnson, I don't know what he's saying there, but it's on the screen. So you can see it there. You are very mad, young Chris says. I don't know. I think that is already in response to Slim P. So of course, as I said, the Igbos don't, not the Igbos, but the IPOBs, because we have to make that distinction. The Igbos are a broad church, and IPOB is just a tiny little subsect of it. But the IPOB members don't take very kindly to unkind words in the direction of their Lord and Master. So that is young Chris, Slim P, your head is not correct in response to being disrespectful to his Mazi. As Motan Johnson comes back, Almighty God has brought Money-Kanu to rescue the innocent from you blood-tasting vampire demons' hands in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. So that is it. Free for Christ, a regular, he hails. We hail you back. You can come on stream, Free for Christ. I know you are not shy. So click on the hyperlink and come join. What I'm also calling for is a female person. What I'm also calling for is a female person to actually come on stream and engage in conversations, because all of the people that have been clicking on the hyperlink so far have been male, and really, and thank you for that, by the way. Still keep clicking, but we need to hear female voices as well for balance, so that it's just not boys talking, just talking shit. So we need some female voices for balance, just so that we can hear a different perspective. So I invite everybody to click on the hyperlink to come join in the live streaming, but I especially invite a female voice to come and join in, just to give us that balance, as I said. So I'll post the hyperlink again before I go on to the next narrative. And the next narrative lands on that point that is already been discussed. Good morning, Isaac. Isaac says, good morning. I don't know where you are, but it is it's going on evening where I am. It's going on 3 o'clock where I am. But good morning to you wherever you are. So we go on to the next narrative, which seems to be the one that is of interest in the comment section. So it's the of course the never-ending aggravations that Money-Kanu seems to have, like with the plethora of people, and this is the latest incursion of that, asking ESN to work with Ebubeagu is like asking Satan to midwife the birth of Christ. IPOB. So this highfalutin, controversial, high-pitched sort of language that we have come to expect from Money-Kanu and its followership, you know, this bombasticness that they choose as their tone of reference. Again, the headline, asking ESN to work with Ebubeagu is like asking Satan to midwife the birth of Jesus, a headline attributed to IPOB. So now let's now see now what the latest skirmish is in the eastern quarters. The indigenous people of Biafra has said that those calling for the Eastern Security Network to join the newly formed security outfit in the southeast, Ebubeagu, should desist from making such a call. So two elements to that. First, because I am still maintaining that is this Eastern Security Network actually a real thing? And I am having that caution off the back of public statements by the Nigerian police forces to say that they have investigated this idea of an Eastern Security Network and they have found it to be non-existent. So that is what the Nigerian police forces are saying, that there's no such thing as Eastern Security Network. And I am hinging my banner with that comment because, of course, Money-Kanu is notorious for making highfalutin noises and just making up stories. Of course, we all know the Jubril al-Sudani narrative. Buhari is dead and it's now Jubril. Jubril is now dead and they've passed the silicon mask onto somebody else. Buhari is in a basement in Cuba broadcasting. Yemi Oshibajo is in a shallow grave in Dubai, and where is you know, it just makes up stories anyway. This is just what Money-Kanu does. So for that reason, a lot of people just discount and disregard his comments. And when then the Nigerian police are saying that this Eastern security network that is now vaunting is just the latest fabula mouth that is coming from Money-Kanu, you tend to want to pitch your tent more with the Nigerian police. Not that you have any trust in them, but you have lesser faith in Money-Kanu. But nevertheless, the indigenous people of Biafra have said that those calling for the Eastern Security Network to join the newly formed security outfit in the southeast, Ebubeagu, should desist from making such a call. IPOB told both well-meaning people and mischievous people, urging its security wing to partner with Ebubeagu, that light and darkness cannot work together. In a statement made available to correspondents on Monday by its spokesman, Emma Powerful, IPOB said Ebubeagu is a ghost group monitored by the Nigerian security agents who are enemies of ESN and its leader, Money-Kanu. We, the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, under the command and leadership of our great and indomitable leader, Mazi Money-Kanu, have noted with keen interest the genuine calls by some eminent Igbo for collaboration between our gallant Eastern Security Network, ESN, and the ghost Ebubeagu Security Network recently floated by the treacherous Southeast governors. We have equally noted similar calls by some self-acclaimed but unreliable Igbo elders and Ohanese chieftains. But we have a simple question for them all. Can light and darkness work together? We all knew the circumstances that gave birth to ESN. It was when the cowardly governors woefully failed to stand with the people who were being raped and slaughtered daily by Fulani headsmen and jihadists that our leader, based on the yearnings by the people, had to establish Eastern Security Network to save the situation. And ever since then, the narrative has changed out of envy and jealousy, as those being remote controlled by the caliphate, the Southeast governors belatedly and without coordination announced a ghost security outfit, Ebubeagu. For the discerning mind, the action of the governors and their slave masters is suspect. They are out for something sinister, but we are too smart to fall for it, the statement said. So it does carry on, but I want to see what you guys are making of it. This is Kanu again with this thunder and brimstone sort of manner of speaking, weighing upon and weighing down on everything with curses and swearing and chants of Efulefu. So we carry on with the Efulefu. The pro-Biafra group also revealed that the circumstances that heralded Ebubeagu are treacherous, adding that the Southeast governors should have supported the Eastern Security Network instead of floating a ghost security apparatus without personnel. Where are the personnel of the so-called Ebubeagu? So let me, because a lot of the some of the terms are in Igbo, and of course everybody that follows knows that I'm notoriously bad with that. So it's Ebubeagu na Ngwere. So where are the so-called Ebubeagu na Ngwere? When Amotekun was formed by the Southwest governors, did you not see their personnel and equipment? When our leader established Eastern Security Network, did you not see our gallant men? How then are you asking the Eastern Security Network to collaborate with Ghost Ebubeagu that has no identifiable personnel? So we pause there again to reflect on that. Several things being said by Nnamdi-Kanu via his spokesman, Emma Powerful. And if you want to click on the hyperlink to come and join directly, then please click on the hyperlink, because I would love to hear your voices, and others would love to hear your voices as well, so that they don't just have to suffer my own voice all the way through. But there are several elements to that. So this now Eastern Security Network, which is a subsect of the IPOB movement, is saying to this newly formed security outfit, which the Eastern governors are alleging that they are formed, that this Ebubeagu, which is the new formation by the Eastern governors, is a ghost organization because it has no personnel, and there's no evidence of it being actually an entity. So this is what the IPOB are countering to the suggestion that they work with this Ebubeagu that has been formed by the Igbo governors. But then, of course, the Nigerian police, the Nigerian security structures are saying that even that narrative applies to the Eastern Security Network as well, because they have investigated and it's non-existent. But then, of course, the argument that the Eastern Security Network are using to counter this Ebubeagu that is non-existent is to reference Amotekun, which is the Yoruba security outfit, to say that look at Amotekun over there, we can see their personnel, we see their vehicles, we saw this structured way that it was formed, and you have just gathered together and gathered media, giving them brown envelopes of 100,000 naira each, and told them to go and write article that some organization just exist. So this is the narrative. But then, of course, in the mix of all that, there's no clarity. It's like muddy waters that we're in the Eastern Coasters, which is often the case, because the hyperbole and the made-up story and the facts are all often meshed together whenever it comes to IPOB, Nnamdi-Kanu, and some of the Eastern narratives. It's just highfalutin language and bombastic jumping up and down, but really no clarity. So the Eastern Security Network, the police have said it doesn't exist. The Ebubeagu that these Eastern governors are saying they are formed, Eastern Security Network is saying it doesn't exist. But then, of course, Amotekun, I don't think anybody on the planet can say it doesn't exist. The local assemblies in all of the forming states of the southwestern region of Yoruba land, they passed and they enacted and passed laws to bring this thing into being. And then they then had some overarching law that coordinated all of their subsisting enacted laws within their local assemblies to link it together. And that was after all that legal footing that they then battered Amotekun, and then they then recruited personnel, which you can see, and then they then bought vehicles and equipment, which you can all see. So that is the process for Amotekun. But with this here, Eastern Security Network and Ebubeagu, somebody just goes in front of a microphone and say that we have created Eastern Network, we have created Ebubeagu, and all of this stuff. So this is really the thing that I am seeing. But if you see it differently, of course, come counter me by clicking on that hyperlink. So the never-ending battle in Igbo land is what we're talking about, and the name that is always central to any yawa that is going on within that space, Money-Kanu, of course, and his band of merry men in the IPOB movement. So where did we last stop? So how can Eastern Security Network collaborate with Ebubeagu that is being supervised by the compromised Fulani-controlled Nigerian security agencies? Heads of all security agencies in the Southeast are all Fulanis who have failed to protect our people against their kinsmen and foot soldiers of the Fulanization agenda. These are those behind the formation of Ebubeagu, and you want us to work together with them. Asking Eastern Security Network to collaborate with Ebubeagu is like asking Lucifer to midwife the birth of Jesus Christ. So those are the words of Emma Powerful, not my words. So I'm not going to go down the route of blasphemy. But for those gullible, Ebubeagu was simply floated to spy on ESN and IPOB. The aim of the caliphate in forcing their puppets called Southeast governors to float the imaginary outfit is to scuttle the bonding unity amongst Indigbo and set our youths against themselves, but we are ahead of them in this game, the statement further disclosed. In the statement, the group said that the people of the region have lost in their... In the statement, the group said that the people of the region have lost in their state governors. So I don't know how that reads. Asking that an opinion, that should be have lost faith. So let me just insert that faith because I think that might well have been an omission. In the statement, the group said that the people of the region have lost faith in their state governors, asking that an opinion poll should be conducted to show if they would go with ESN or Ebubeagu. So this idea of calling for a referendum and a polling of any idea that pops into your head is something that especially comes from IPOB. They are calling for a referendum in Igbo land. They are calling for an opinion poll to see a popularity contrast between their imaginary Eastern Security Network and the imaginary Ebubeagu that has just been something that's been announced without being properly formed by the Southeast governors. If the Southeast governors are sincere, they would rather support ESN, which has been doing a pretty job since inception, instead of floating this joke and mockery. They should hide their faces in shame for working against the desires of their people. Go and conduct an opinion poll amongst Indigbo and know what they want, whether ESN or Ebubeagu is their choice. Then the result will determine the next line of action. The security of our land is sacrosanct and too sensitive to be left in the hands of these political desperados without a conscience. They can easily compromise it for a pot of porridge and selfish political interest. We will never take such a stupid risk. The people have lost confidence in the governors who abandoned them when it was when it counted the most. The Eastern Security Network came to their rescue and will defend them until Biafra is fully restored, where their security can be guaranteed, the statement added. So that is now the never-ending battle that is the Eastern space. So Nnamdi Kanu, of course, at war with everybody, and his favorite opponents, of course, the first is number one favorite opponent, of course, is the Janjaweeds, as he likes to put it, But then, of course, a close second is just the Eastern oligarchs. He particularly and especially detests the Eastern oligarchs to the point that from Ohaneze in Digbo to the governors to other subgroups, other sub-pressure groups like his pressure groups, he has issues with them. So this is now his, and it's now weighing this Ebubeagu that is being formed in the East. Can somebody please come on stream and correct me on how I'm pronouncing it? Because I don't have the confidence that I'm pronouncing it correctly, but people seem to be shy today to click on the hyperlink. You are not known for being shy, so just click on the hyperlink, come join me directly on the screen. But Nnamdi Kanu, he seems to especially have issues with virtually everybody within that space, and that is my own reading. So let me see now what people are making of it. Emma Gold, good evening. So this is Emma Gold, and Emma Gold goes on to say, good job. Thank you, Emma. Lady Ebeyi, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you, lady. Kachi, good job, brother. Thank you, Kachi. Gertrude, Eastern Security Network is what we know in the East, but the question really is, does it actually exist? This is a question that we have to ask. And another question that I have been asking now pretty much for the entirety of a week is, what actually is Biafra? Where did that word come from? And what does it mean? So if anybody has any theory or definition for the word Biafra, its origination and its meaning, this is something that I am especially keen to know. So that is the question. What is Biafra? What does it mean? And where does that word come from? So anybody that's willing to take that on, I'm putting that question out there. Chike Nwosu, who still listens to Nigerian police and their investigation, let them go to the bushes and face the fact and face the dance. So this is now, he's saying a trial will convince you is effectively what Chike will say, is saying, that if you're saying that the Eastern Security Network does not exist, then go to the forestries in Igbo land, and then if you come back alive, then you can come and make that comment again. So we're going to Asemota. He said, all good mind people, appreciate your time for this live broadcast. So yeah, so show that appreciation first by clicking on the subscribe button, because I need to rapidly move up my subscription to be just really to reward. If you think this live broadcast are worth doing, because as I said, I'm just experimenting with this live broadcast for a month, and the impact that it has on the channel and the feedback that I get from your people will determine if I carry on with the live broadcast or just go back to just making those old audio videos that you guys know me for. So click on like, subscribe, etc. And if you want to click on the hyperlink to come and join in a live engagement, that's even better. There's sufficient enough of us here to have at least one other person on the screen, so that it's just not my voice that is droning on. I especially love it when somebody actually comes on live to challenge me. So please click on the hyperlink and then just come on live. Gertrude, Eastern Security Network is alive and kicking. So that is to dispel that assertion that is just a figment of Nnamdi Kanu's imagination. Gertrude carries on. We are sleeping now because of Eastern Security Network. Gertrude, tell us where you are based first, and then we'll then see how that attribution actually has meaning. Owen Peter comes in. Why are you talking about Igbo and not your Yoruba people? You are just jealousy of Igbo. Please leave us alone. Allow us to deal with our problem, okay? So that's me being told off. Gertrude comes back. We don't have governors. Well, you do. They might not be to your liking, but you certainly do. So Gertrude still carries. I'm just going to post the hyperlink again, just to tease you guys to see if I can tease somebody to actually come on live. Gertrude still carries on. The Southeast governors are Fulani puppies. So can you back that up? Because this just seems to be just those what do they call it again? Sound bites. Those are just sound bites that people regurgitate, isn't it? So can you evidentially back it up, or is this just words that you have heard said and you're just passing it on? Gertrude still carries on. We are not listening to the so-called Eastern leaders. Okay, they are compromised. You can't just write it all in one running sentence rather than write it a sentence each, Gertrude. Owen comes back. People should ignore this man, or Biafrans should shut this man up. Why not talking about his people, the Yorubas? Well, unfortunately for you, Owen Peters, Owen Peter, unfortunately for you, there is such a thing still in the world called free speech, and this is exactly what I am exercising. So that is unfortunate for you, but certainly fortunate for me. So we go on to the next comment. Gertrude, the only leader we have in the Eastern region is Money-Kanu, and is the only one we know. Well, it might well be the only one you know, but certainly others would have it differently. Ife is a new name now that we're conjuring with. Useless fool, why are you so jealous of Nnamdi Kanu? Speak about what is happening in Yoruba land. Well, what is happening in everywhere within the Nigerian space impacts on everywhere within the Nigerian space. So I'm still fine to talk about any space within the Nigerian space. Chike comes back. Igbo people do not need anyone's permission to secure their lives and properties. I don't think anyone needs anyone's permission to do that. Gertrude, one man, our leader is MNK. So Gertrude, you keep saying that, but that is your view, and I accept that, and he's your leader, as you have self now confessed. But there are a lot of people within the Igbo space that would have it otherwise. Ohaneze don't really see Nnamdi Kanu as their leaders. The people that are being led by Asari Dokubo, they don't really see Nnamdi Kanu as their leader. Mossab, or is it Mossab or Mossab? They don't see Nnamdi Kanu as their leaders, and people that are even not aligned with any of these things, they don't see Nnamdi Kanu as their leaders. So Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra movement. That is one thing, because of course that is his formation, but it is not the leader of the Igbo people. I don't think even you will is just clouded in the mind enough to say that. So so let's just be clear. Gertrude still carries on. Anyone who wants to speak to us from the East can speak to MNK. So it's just really Gertrude now that is really getting the hump about all of it. Gertrude finally rounds off. One man, that's not my view alone. Yes, it is not your view alone. It is the views of millions of Igbo people, but it is not the view of the entirety of the Igbo people, is what I am saying to you. The Nnamdi Kanu movement is not even the view of the majority of the Igbo people. The Nnamdi Kanu movement is not even the view of a sizable minority of the Igbo people. Nnamdi Kanu is just the view of a sufficient enough of the Igbo people, because the Nnamdi Kanu movement, I don't think it commands maybe 1 million, if at stretch 1.5 million, and the Igbo population is what, 30, 40, maybe even 60 million if we take the entirety, including diaspora. So you cannot say somebody that is controlling maybe 800,000, 500,000 to however number the IPOB movement is representative of the totality. So Nnamdi Kanu's movement is not a representation of the totality of the Igbo position. Certainly not, and not even you, Gertrude, can say that. She comes back, is the view of more than 99% of Easterners. How did you sample that poll, and what gives you the brevity to make that assertion? So that is just in the realms of speculation, isn't it? Gertrude is really at war now. 99% of Easterners want Biafran nation. Again, I revert you to my earlier question: where, and how was that opinion sampled? Owen chimes in. I hope you heard what Ooni of Ife said about Igbos, that we are the oldest people in the earth. The oldest people on the planet are actually from East Africa, that Kenya region. That is according to science, but this sounds like according to your own wishful thinking. So it says, I hope you heard what the Ooni of Ife said about the Igbos. We're the oldest people on earth. We do things on our own way, not Yoruba way, okay? So that's just, okay, anyway. I think pretty much with Owen and Gertrude, we get the gist of where they're headed. I am inviting still people to click on the hyperlink. I just need a person to come up, and then that usually then kicks off others then taking up the challenge as well. So as I wait somebody to come on stream to come and engage, we go on to the last now narrative. I might well add a bonus narrative just to, if I'm so inclined. Well, let's go on to the last rather narrative. So now, a lot of you are aware, of course, the ongoing beef that is going on between Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State, the governor of the central bank, what is his name, Emefiele, and the Minister of Finance and Budgeting, ZAINAB Ahmed. So Governor Obaseki came out recently to say that Nigeria has completely run out of money, to the point that they're just printing paper money that is not backed by value and distributing it to the sovereign, to the composing states of the Nigerian state. So this is what Governor Obaseki said. And then, of course, as soon as Governor Obaseki said they were printing money, quick as flash, the Minister of Finance and Budgeting, ZAINAB Ahmed, she came out quickly to dispel it and completely deny it and call Governor Obaseki a liar. So they were having that, the throes of that, the back and forth of that, and they were in that battle, locked horns, when suddenly the governor of the central bank piped in to admit that the country was in fact printing money, and he then tried to justify it. Now you have to understand that the governor of the central bank is effectively a staff of the Minister of Finance, because the central bank comes under the Ministry of Finance's portfolio. So in effect, the governor of the central bank has come to debunk a position and weigh as referee in an ongoing battle between the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, and the Minister of Finance, ZAINAB Ahmed. He came in as referee, and he weighed in the direction of the governor of Edo State. So now, what he did then, by extension, what that means is that, in effect, a portfolio that is under her ministry, and that is ZAINAB Ahmed, has come out to go against her and call her an outright liar, sufficient enough for anybody to have to resign their position in any civilized climate. But no one on this planet can ever describe Nigeria as a civilized climate. So now, having now been exposed, she's now fully opening up. As guys, I bring you this. Federal government admits revenue crashing, says Nigeria faces hard times. So as though things were not hard enough within the Nigerian space, what we were exchanging the naira for international currency has gone up by 300%. The price of everything, every product within the Nigerian space has gone up by 300 to 500%. But the only thing that has not gone up by any percentage within the Nigerian space is the salary of the Nigerian worker. So everything has gone up by 300 to 500%, but your finances has remained stagnant. But then, of course, the Minister of Finance that is superintending the economy that has led you to this situation is now telling you that you have no cause for hope, but you have cause for caution. As again, federal government admits revenue crashing, says Nigeria faces hard times. So now let's now see what further hardship they're about to vest on the Nigerian person. The Minister of Finance, Budgeting and National Planning, ZAINAB Ahmed, on Monday admitted that Nigeria's economy is facing a difficult time, saying states must improve their internally generated revenues. Ahmed, who stated this in an interview on a daily breakfast show on the Nigerian Television Authority (NTA), Good Morning Nigeria, stated that the money shared at the March Federal Account Allocation Committee was short by 50 billion. So let's just pause on that thing for a moment. So what she's saying, in effect, is that she's admitting that they did, in fact, print the money, which she categorically denied in the first instance. So her saying that the federal allocation for March was short by 50 billion, but the people were still paid their full quota, then where did that money come from? It's effectively the printing of money that Obaseki alerted us about in his first public alarm. So, bear with me one minute. So, if you do want to click on the hyperlink, the minister was speaking on a controversy generated by a claim by the Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki that the Central Bank of Nigeria printed 60 billion naira in March to augment the money shared at March FAAC. But the minister and the Central Bank and the Central Bank of Nigeria governor last week dismissed Obaseki's claim. In the interview on NTA on Monday, the finance minister stated that the country's economy was stabilizing from the recession which the country exited a few months ago. She, however, added, "These are very difficult, challenging times because revenues are low and the demand for expenditure are very high, understandably, because we have to keep intervening to make sure that the pandemic is contained, as well as the economic impact it has caused." In our case, in Nigeria, the crash of the crude oil price really hit us very hard in terms of revenue. We have very low revenue. We have very high expenditure. What we have done so far is just to provide some stability, to make sure salaries are paid, pensions are received every month, that we send funds to the judiciary and the legislature, that we meet our debt service obligations. That's what we are doing. That is what we are doing. It also means we have had to borrow more than we have planned before the C-19 pandemic started, because we need to still continue to invest in infrastructure using our national budget. We borrowed to invest in key projects such as roads, rails, airports, seaports, and several other investments that are required in the health and in education, and upgrading the social standards and quality of life of our people. And Nigeria is not unique, as several countries of the world went into recession. So this is what she said. So sometimes when they are justifying the reasons why they do take all this money, they make all these glib statements that they try to hide behind. So a lot of comments in the comment section, but nobody brave enough to click on the hyperlink to come and actually take me on directly. You are invited. I'm not aggressive. I don't bite. So just click on the hyperlink and then you're on the screen. So they make all these glib statements to justify all these borrowings that they make. So let's just take this paragraph. We borrowed to invest in key projects such as roads, rail, airports, seaports, and several other investments that are required in health and in education. So this is what this woman is saying. They are borrowing hundreds of billions of dollars every year. And what this woman is telling us is that they are investing it in health and education, in airports, seaports, roads, and rails. And where are you seeing that? That is the question. Where are you seeing any investment in health services in Nigeria? There's absolutely virtually no health service in Nigeria. Where are you seeing investments in education in Nigeria? There's no investment in any education in Nigeria. All the education in Nigeria is in private hands. And if you end up within the public system, then you probably end up just hawking pure water on the streets. That is really what happens. What investment do you see in roads, rails? The only railway that is being built, there are 2 railways that is being built within the Nigerian space in the entirety of the Buhari regime. The Lagos-Ibadan rail system, which is funded, designed, and put in place by the Goodluck Jonathan regime, they had actually done the groundwork and work had progressed before Buhari came in. The only thing that Buhari did was not to stop it because, of course, he asked the question, am I going to have to pay for it? They said, no, it's already paid for if you just allow it to go on. So he allowed it to go on. So that's the only thing he did. And the only other railway that is being built under this regime is the Fulani Railway to link his people from Kano to Niger Republic. That is the only thing. What new airport is being built? If you go to Ghana airport, you think that you are in China, or you're not even in China, in Japan or something. So some high functioning upper class airport. If you go to a Nigerian airport from Abuja to Lagos, you think you are in Oshodi Market, that the aircraft that landed in Oshodi Market, they don't have any air conditioner, the conveyors, the conveying belts don't work, or the over security everywhere. Every dog and his man is asking for your passport, when really it's only the immigration person that is asking for your passport. Everybody wants to search your bag, and of course, what they are only looking for is that it's a traumatic experience. So they are not doing anything. What seaport are they building? I'm not aware that. So this is the thing. They borrow all this money and they put it glibly on all these social structures. But then when you peruse and investigate, you see that there's absolutely nothing, not a single thing that is being done by this elements. So let me just see what you guys are saying in the comment section before we carry on. So we last landed on Gertrude, Nigeria has expired. And then Bobby says, this man go and sit down. Well, I am sat down, but I take your point as a metaphoric. It's effectively shut your mouth, isn't it? Is what you're saying to me. Gertrude still comes back. Everything in Nigerian space is a fraud. Gertrude carries on. Okay. It's a release of Obaseki, but she can't actually spell his name. Buki has taken the time to log in, listen for a good while, and then taking the time to tell us that it's a waste of time, and then he or she is out of here. So thank you at least for the visit, Buki. Gertrude, you seem to be the only person commenting. So let me take a non-Gertrude comment. Chris Money, the Zoological Republic of Nigeria, the giant of Amidrobas. So I have to look up that word because that's a new word to me. And then Gertrude, she's just on a mission this day. So let's just round off what this supposed Minister of Finance has to say. Just bear with me. So I'll just take it from this random paragraph. That's what we are doing. It also means that we have had to borrow more than we have planned before the C-19 pandemic started, because we need to still continue to invest in infrastructure using our national budget. We borrowed to invest in key projects such as roads, rails, airports, seaports, and several other investments that are required in health and in education, and upgrading the social standards and quality of life of our people. And Nigeria is not unique, as several countries of the world went into recession. Almost every other country has had to borrow more than it planned. It means we expanded our deficit very fast in 2020. 2021 is a year that we see as the year of recovery. According to him, that should be according to her, according to him though, that is how it's written, government hopes to achieve a growth of 3% in 2021, adding that some of the multilateral institutions are putting it at about 2.5%. She stated, it is a very difficult time. I can explain to you how difficult it is, not just for the federal government. Let me take that from the top again. She stated, it is a very difficult time. I can explain to you how difficult it is, not just for the federal government, but also for the states. We see increasing reductions in our FAAC revenues. FAAC revenues are the revenues that we put together every month that are collected from both oil and non-oil sectors, from the collection of the NNPC, the FIRS, and all other revenue collecting agencies. So FAAC reduces, and wherever FAAC reduces, it is very difficult situation. In the past 1 year, so let me take that again. So FAA reduces, and whenever FAA reduces, it is a very difficult situation. And in the past 1 year, we have tried to fall back on some specific accounts that are meant to be saved. Savings that when you have such a situation, you fall back on the resources and augment. So we take funds based on Mr. President's approval, either from excess crude or stabilization account, or in some cases, President approved for us to take funds from LNG, liquid natural gas dividends. In the month of March, we had a shortfall of FAAC that was about 50 billion naira. We didn't have enough accrued in any of those accounts, other than some 8.5 billion naira that we took from exchange rate differential accounts. So we added that, and we ended up with the FAAC of 605 billion naira. An average FAAC that is healthy for us is 650 billion naira. So it means we had a shortfall of about 50 billion naira. The states, to be honest, wanted us to go and borrow from the central bank to augment the FAAC. She stated that advice by states were rejected, adding that the 3 levels of government were asked to manage what is available. So it was very surprising when we had a sitting governor saying that the central bank had printed money for FAAC. That was very unfortunate because it was not true. The FAAC was 60 billion naira. The FAAC was 60 billion naira. The FAAC information is published, so you can see the revenue contributed by each agency that we shared the states would have wanted us to borrow an argument, but we didn't do that. And we would make sure we don't have to do that, because it's time all of us to go back and do more. A lot of the states are trying to do that in terms of increasing the performance of their internally generated revenue, but it is difficult to do that. At a time when growth is very, very slow. Going forward, what we have been doing in the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning is a plan that we have put in place to grow revenue. Our revenues have been growing, but because the expenditures have not been growing at a pace that is much faster, but because the expenditures have been growing at a pace that is much faster than the revenue growth, the impact is not felt. So this is what she is saying. Wike chimes in. Wike canvasses ownership of minerals, government royalties. Governor Wike of Rivers State on Monday said dependence on oil was one of the problems of Nigeria. He therefore advocated that the federating units in Nigeria should be allowed to develop and operate their respective minerals and pay royalty to the federal government. So this is now this is the restructuring argument actually that Wike is putting forward. It is long-winded and involved, but let me just see what you guys are making of it. So what says you? Still no takers in the hyperlink. You guys are very shy today. This is most unlike you. Let me see. Let me just go through the comments again. We're still with Gertrude and Chris Money. They seem to be the only two people with a voice today. So Gertrude again, Nigeria is not manufacturing anything, but importing and consuming everything. So that is, of course, the dichotomous, that is, of course, the tragedy that is the Nigerian space. They are investing the money on terrorist herdsmen. I don't think anybody would disagree. They are paying the bandits. Yes, actually, you'll recall that story maybe a year or so ago when these people actually gave this terrorist 100 billion naira in cash. That was in Abuja. Chris Money, Nigeria is a joke. Investment in healthcare. Why the president is exactly when the president is going to the United Kingdom for checkup. Don't play chimes in. Ha ha ha. One man, nothing. Then go tell you we go pain you. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I have to reread that to get a better understanding. Isaac, he means armed robbers. So that might well be in reference to something, because sometimes I come to these comments later, and of course the conversation has progressed on from there. Don't play. I swear I love your reply when reading the messages. Wow, I'm loving it. Well, thank you. And that is my reply to your message. Gertrude, we are investing in bandits and Fulani terrorists. Well, that is the position we find ourselves within the space. Chris Money, wake up Nigerians. How are these politicians? And that actually doesn't make any sense. Chris, reread what you wrote and then maybe reconfigure it and rewrite it. Wake up Nigeria. How are these politicians and their police and army? So I can't see sense in that, but if anybody sees sense in that, then please comment on it. Don't play. Keep on your good work, sir. I am enjoying your analysis and opinion. God bless. God bless you too. Don't play. Harry Taylor Kamara, Idris Deby of Chad has been killed. Well, if it's a bad guy, then that's good news. And if it's a good guy, then that's bad news. Don't play. One man, ha ha ha, nothing they go tell you where you go, where go pay you. He said you should go and sit down. You said, I am already seated. Well, I am already seated, but he might well have concerns for my well-being, and I thank him for that. But then, of course, I am already seated, so that that makes that statement somewhat redundant. So Shall we just shall we go through the wiki part or just leave the narration there? So you see, the cut and thrust of the person coming on the screen to take me on is what usually makes this. Let's go through the wiki bit. Actually, I'll post the hyperlink again just to see if I can actually tease somebody to come online before I round off. But I will just I'll do the wiki bit of the ZAINAB-Ahmed piece, and then if anybody wants to come on stream, they come on stream, and if nobody wants to come on stream, then we just seek to round off. We do come on just by way of an advertorial before I go to the wiki piece. We come on 1:45 p.m. UK time every day. We were a bit late today because I had to run some errands. But 1:45, you can mark that in your calendars, UK time every day, and 10:30 p.m. UK time every day. So 1:45 UK time every day, and 10:30 UK time every day. So like afternoon, midday-ish session and a late evening session as well. So I am going to experiment with that for the whole of this month, and then depending on how it works out, then I will make the decision if it's something that's going to be ongoing, or I will revert back to the audio videos that I usually put out, because those are easier done, the audio ones, than because those are easier done. Well, I won't say they're easier done actually, because with the audio ones, I have to listen back, edit beats, then, you know, so a lot of work. But with this one, I just have the interactions. However, I fumble my way through it. That is it. It is done. So I'm not really sure which is easier, but we go on to what Wiki has to say. Wiki canvasses state ownership of minerals, government royalty. So this is part of the restructuring debate that is going on within the Nigerian space. This is an element of restructuring. Governor of Rivers State, Yemson Wike, on Monday said dependence on oil was one of the problems of the country. He therefore advocated that the federating unit in Nigeria should be allowed to develop and operate their respective minerals and pay royalty to the federal government. He said this had become pertinent because the federal government, which unilaterally controlled the country's rich mineral resources, had failed to translate the mineral wealth into overall economic development. Wike made this assertion when the Minister of State for Mines and Steel Development, Uchenna Oga, paid him a visit at the government house, Port Harcourt. The governor, in a statement by his media aide, Kelvin Ebiri, maintained that in order for the country to benefit from its vast endowment, the federal government should concentrate on formulation of policies that will facilitate an improvement in the governance of mining sector to improve social welfare of the citizens. The federal government is carrying so much load that it is not supposed to carry. Allow states to develop these minerals and pay royalty to the federal government. That is the way it's supposed to be. It is very important for people to know that part of the problem in this country is that everybody is depending on oil when we are also supposed to look at other minerals. Minerals play a great role in terms of raising revenue for any country. So our overemphasis on oil has reduced our impact on other minerals, Wike stated. He noted that if the country fully harnessed the gold deposit in Zamfara, as well as other minerals in other states of the Federation, the country would make a lot of revenue from these minerals that can accelerate her development. Wike lamented that despite the possibility of Ajaokuta Steel Company project generating huge revenue for the country and creating not less than 10,000 jobs, the federal government, for political reasons, had failed to actualize the country's aspiration to become a major player in global steel industry. The Minister of State for Mines and Steels, the Minister of State for Mines and Steel, Uchechukwu Oga, told the governor he was in the state to share with him the vision and policy focus of the federal government for the development of the nation's solid mineral resources. According to him, his visit is to solicit for the support and partnership of the government of Rivers State in ensuring the orderly and efficient exploitation of huge deposits of silica sand, glass, sand, and clay in the state. Also on Monday, the Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki said the federal government should stop financing gymnastics, stop financial gymnastics. Also on Monday, the Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki said the federal government should stop financial gymnastics and face the reality that dependence on oil could not take the country far. Obaseki, who stated this in a statement on Monday, called for a quick diversification of the nation's economy to increase non-oil revenue. Obaseki said, before the Civil War, we had no crude oil. The regions relied on the resources that they had, and the government was run based on taxation, which was derived from the regions and production, particularly agricultural production in the regions. In the last 40 years or so, crude oil came and replaced those economic activities and earnings. So we now run a federation relying almost exclusively on crude oil. For a country that is still hoping on crude oil, it's only a question of time and pretending and doing all sorts of interesting and financial gymnastics to keep it going. It is only a question of time. So I'll pause again to see, still nobody is brave enough. This is quite unlike you guys. You guys are usually quick to click on the hyperlink and come join in. But there we are. That's how it's gone today. Let's just see again what the comment is. And then I'll read the comments, go back into the a piece, round it off, and then just round off this narration. I rather enjoyed it actually, because usually I have people that I'm bouncing off, but with this particular session, nobody has decided to chime in. But nevertheless, we've still had a session. So we go to Chike Mosu. What do you expect from a government that spends 65% of her budget on concurrent expenditure? Everyone sees this day coming. Of course, I mean this is the thing with the Nigerian state, and the thing to speak to on. Let me just leave you up for a moment. This thing to speak to on what you said, Chike, is that not only are they spending it on concurrent expenditure, as you put it, recurrent expenditures, they are actually selling national assets to service the budget. So understand what that means. They are selling national assets. So when you're talking about national assets, you're talking about assets owned by the NNPC. So maybe like those moribund refineries, etc. Or they are looking to, they are proposing to, I'm not sure if they have started or not, but they are proposing to sell national assets to insulate this year's budget, or yes, to insulate this year's budget. So they're proposing to sell national assets to insulate this year's budget. So what do we mean by national assets? We're talking about things like those refineries that are owned by NNPC. We're talking about the National Theatre in Igamu. We're talking about the National Stadium in Abuja. We're talking about the National Stadium in Onikon. All this sort of like, these are things. So when they're talking about national assets, these are just some examples of what they mean by national assets. So they are proposing to sell national assets to insulate a year's budget. So when they sell the national assets to insulate that year's budget, then you have to ask then what that year's budget is all about. So where is the weight of that year's budget? The weight of that year's budget is not on capital expenditures. No, the capital expenditures of the budget is about 20 to 25% of the budget spend. So it's concurrent expenditure, as you said, recurring expenditure, as I often describe it, is the weight of that budget. So what are we talking about when we are saying concurrent expenditures and recurrent expenditures? What exactly are we talking about? Because of course, if they are selling the national assets to insulate the budget, and the weight of that budget is on this concurrent or recurrent expenditures, then we need to understand what that means. The concurrent and recurring expenditures or recurring expenditures are things like servicing debts. So all these loans that they borrow from all this China and all over the world, they have to service it. And when they talk about servicing it, they don't really pay down the capital of that loan. They only pay down the interest. So let's say, for instance, you borrow 1,000 naira from somebody, and that person then applies 10% as a charge for you borrowing that money. So every year, if you are paying 100 naira, you are not paying down that 1,000 naira that you are borrowing. You are only servicing the interest that has been applied by the person that is lending you the money. So when they're saying about debt servicing, these people, they only pay the interest of the top. So that's the one thing. And the other concurrent, recurrent expenditures are the monies that they are using to travel internationally, the ESTA codes that they are giving themselves, the budget that they are giving to the Senate, the salaries that they are paying to the civil servants, etc. So these are monies in effect that is not going to come back or serve any purpose. So if we stay on that example of that 1,000 naira narration that we're using as an example, that 100 naira that you are paying as the interest on the 1,000 naira that you have borrowed is not money that is serving any purpose. It's dead money. You just pay it as a gift for the privilege of having that loan. So it doesn't reduce the loan and it doesn't advance anything forward in the first place. So now when they're saying they're selling national assets now to service loans, so let's say, for instance, you have a business premises that you work at, and then to service that 100 naira loan that you have borrowed, you sell your business premises in order to service that 100 naira interest on your 1,000 naira loan. So stay with me. So that is the situation. So you sell it for 1 year. So the next year, then the 1,000 naira is still there. And additional, that year's 100 naira interest has been applied. So then you have now sold your business. So that business is no longer an asset that you have. No. So now let's say you have 2 houses. You then sell one of your houses to service that still 100 naira interest on that 1,000 naira loan that you have. So so you service it for that year. So but that loan is not still paid down. But you've now lost two assets now, your business and one of your houses. So the third year, that 1,000 naira is still there. An additional 100 pounds has been applied. So in order to service that 100 pounds, you then sell your last house, your last asset, to service that loan. But then in the 4th year, that 1,000 naira is still outstanding. But so they are selling national assets is effectively what I'm saying, to service a budget that is heavy on recurrent expenditures. So this is the thing. So effectively, they're just bringing the country. They are selling the country is effectively my reading of it. I don't know what your reading of it is. So let me just see what you guys are making of that just that example that I've made, or what your thoughts might be in other directions. So Chris Money, Wake Up Nigeria, how many are these politicians and their police and army fight back? So I think he's gone on to qualify that as statements that he did not commit, that he did not rather complete in an earlier expression. Liz Noble, a new name that we're conjuring with. They will soon commission new seaports in Ibejuleki. Well, that is a Lagos State project and not a national project by my reckoning. But if you know differently, then please come educate me. Jason Lincoln, Nigeria is now fuller Nigeria. Well, when was there ever a time that Nigeria was not fuller Nigeria? Was it under Muritala Mohammed, or was it under Abacha or Babangida, etc., Abdul Salami, go on? When was it ever not a fuller Nigeria? It has always been fuller Nigeria. Pardon me. So Lincoln carries on. Nigerian politicians see Nigeria as a business. Well, yes, and so say all of us. I think we are pretty much all of that thought. Lincoln still, National Assembly of Crime and House of Representative of Crime. The headquarters of crime in Nigeria is Aso Rock. Not too many people will be disagreeing with that. Nigeria is not a nation. Nigeria is a scam. Well, I often say on this channel, I'm not quite sure if you're new here or not, Jason, but I always say that the entirety of the Nigerian space is just one giant criminal enterprise, and there is not one single thing going on within the Nigerian space other than acts of criminality. And I'm sure a lot of you will continue to be of that view as matters evolve. Jason still, Nigeria and Nigeria politics needs to go for us to have a nation that works for the citizen. So who runs the nation then if it's not a politician? Because of course, anybody that runs a nation is a politician. Jason, Tanko, Chief Justice of Nigeria, is a Sharia court judge. Well, we all know that that is his specialism. Tanko Mohammed is learning his legal credentials is in Sharia. That is his specialism. His specialism is what qualifies him to be the Chief Justice of the country is a specialism in Sharia law. So anybody that is still not of the thought that Nigeria is an Islamic state, then you can take that person to the nearest psychiatric hospital, because that person is not 100% in the head. Jason, Tanko is know nothing about law. Yes, I think you made that point. Jason rounds us off, because I will now seek to round off. I'm an hour and a half in, which I'll give myself a pat on the back for, because usually I don't run this long a session if I don't have anybody else on the screen to bounce off. But the engagement has been such that, and the stories have been that intriguing, that the time has just flown by. So Jason gets to make the last comment before I do just a summary, just to sum it all up. So this is Jason. If you are still supporting One Nigeria, you are in bondage of the Fulani federal government. So Jason finally reveals his colors with that last comment. Of course, you don't get more IPOB than that comment. So that has been the session that was. Three narratives that we've gone through. We've spoken about the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, raining curses on Deji Adeyanju for having the temerity to write to the Secretary of State of the United States of America, invited him to give consideration to Issa Pantami for reasons of his terroristic sympathies. So that is the response of a Minister of State within the Nigerian space to rain curses on a Nigerian citizen. Then we go to the Eastern Quarters, Eastern Security Network, rebuffing and standing aloof to the idea of working with Ebubeagu, which is the new formation now of the Eastern governors. So the counter Amotekun that the Eastern governors have come up with is this Ebubeagu that they have now formed. But Pupu is what Money-Kanu and his group are saying to that. And we finally land on the narrative, on a narrative that we have been following through over the course of the week. Nigeria printing money because the economy has virtually, by all intents and purposes, collapsed. And the minister of our state now, ZAINAB Ahmed, some Hausa Fulani woman, she has now come up to tell us that the federal government's revenue is crashing and Nigeria faces a hard time. So those are the stories that we have conjured with in this session. Yeah, so those are the stories that we have conjured with in this session. You guys have been a bit too shy this time around to click on the link and not come interact with me directly, but nevertheless, it has still been enjoyable. So, but then of course, the joy and the enjoyment doesn't just stop with the live streaming. The conversation usually carries on in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation on within the comment section, but here I say peace.